What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Nick, the science guy. Today, we are going to conduct an experiment. Okay? Before we get started, we need some materials. And I want you to gather the materials so you can do the experiment with me. Okay, some of the materials that we need. We need 2 eggs. We need 2 glasses that are clear. We need salt, a half a cup measuring cup, a spoon, and a jug of water. Okay, so today, with our experiment, we are going to determine if the eggs are going to sink to the bottom or float, which means that they're going to stay on top. But the thing is, in 1 cup, we're going to have tap water or regular sink water. And in this cup, we are going to have salt water. Now, let's get ready. But before we start, we're going to go over a vocabulary word. Hypothesis. Hypothesis is an educated guess. So, we are going to make an hypothesis if the eggs sink to the bottom or float, they stay at the top. Remember, hypothesis, educated guess. So, I'm going to make a hypothesis right now. I think, my educated guess is the egg is going to float with the tap water. So that means that it's going to stay on the top. Now with the salt water, I think my egg is going to sink, which means that it's going to sink, it's going to go to the bottom, right? When it sinks, it goes to the bottom. Okay, now let's get started. So let's get the water, and we're going to pour the water in slow, okay? Nice and slow. Pour it in the tap water, so the sink water. Nice and slow. The salt water, I'm just going to add a little bit more, even it out. Okay. Now, we need to add a variable, okay? Our variable is going to be the salt. So, I want you to open up your salt, okay? And you're going to measure out a half a cup. So, I have some salt in my measuring cup already, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. Okay. Now, we're going to dump it in the salt water. Oh, and I forgot another material. We need a spoon. Now we're going to stir the salt water 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so remember my hypothesis. I think that the egg is going to float, which is going to stay on top in the tap water, and I think that my egg with the salt water is going to sink. It's going to go to the bottom. Okay, but I want to tell you guys some important facts. One important fact. An object will float, stay on the top of the water if it's less dense than the liquid. So if it floats, stays on top, it's less dense than the liquid. An object will sink go to the bottom if it's more dense than the liquid. So if the egg sinks to the bottom, it's more dense than the liquid. So let's see if my hypothesis is correct. Remember, I said that this one's going to float, which is going to stay on top. Oh no. What did it do? It sunk to the bottom. So was my hypothesis right? No, right? The tap water, when you put the egg in the tap water, it sunk. Now let's try this one. I said it's gonna sink, but let's find out. Oh, Mamma Mia! Look what happened to the egg. It stayed on top, which means that it's floating, right? It's floating. It stayed on top of the water. Mamma Mia. Okay, now, what I want you guys to do, I want you guys to do this experiment, but I want you to find 2 objects in your house that sink, which is go to the bottom of the cup, and I want you to find 2 objects that float, that stay on top, okay? And I want you guys to email me the objects that sunk to the bottom and that stayed on top, that float. Thank you for doing the science experiment. Now be the best scientist you can be.